collaboration, and I would say forward-looking dialogue. I would also like to acknowledge Chimanbhai Patel Institute of Management and Research and the broader academic excellence of Sardar Vallabhbhai Global University for hosting this event. Over the course of this workshop, we don't have a lot of time, so I'll just try to go through and make sure that we try to touch upon those important points and the themes of this workshop. We'll dive into hands-on strategies. We'll talk about some real-world case applications and practical tools. We'll start with Excel. We'll dive into Tableau and Power BI, and we'll focus on predictive analytics to help unlock the transformative potential of artificial intelligence across business functions and all while keeping sustainability at the core of our efforts. So thank you once again for being here. I look forward for an engaging session, and let's get started. Um, okay, so I just thought maybe we'll just go across and start with a small activity. Maybe if you guys can go across and tell me what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of AI in business. You can use, I thought maybe I can create a poll, but I think it would be easier if you can go across and maybe put across your answers on the chat so everybody can see their answers. Okay, wonderful coding. Uh, Once again, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of AI in business? More efficiency? Wonderful. Wonderful, Meg. What else? We have a lot of people. Let's talk about it. Anything. It could be any crazy idea. Making more easier. That's great, Dr. Anu. Viraj, easy data analysis, game changing. Now we are getting into it. Now we are getting into the workshop mode. Making more easier, game changing for sure. Automated emails. Well, I really wish. I mean, if AI can write all the emails, well, there's a function on Outlook. Expanded ideology, automation, information. Wow, that's great. Ease of operation and accuracy. I like it. Predicting the future changes and planning in advance. Informed decision making, for sure. We're going to talk about that. More human friendly. Yeah, I mean, I think AI is evolving. Detailed analysis, faster work process, futuristic. Well, we do have an engaging group here. Data privacy. Well, that's a good one. Experienced decision making. Yeah, I mean, if you're having the right prompts and you can play around with it in the right way, time saving and reducing workload. Experience to say, okay, wonderful, that's great. I think we have a lot of ideas and we really get we are moving towards the right theme. I was kind of hoping maybe somebody would come across and say Terminators. Wow, well, Skynet, Neuralink. But yes, in terms of when we talk about AI in business, we can definitely go across and yes, outsource routine tasks, decision making, creativity, getting hidden insights. I like it. Data mining, and you try to go across and get those hidden predictions as well. Wonderful. That's great. I think we all know what exactly AI is. You have been using the AI in the right way for business efficiency. So let's try to go across and check into the today's agenda as well. Wonderful. So today's agenda it's more about we'll talk about AI in business functions. We'll try to go across and maybe get ourselves familiarized with all the other aspects as well. I think sustainability is very important, so we're gonna go across and talk about sustainable business practices with AI. I have tried to go across and maybe align it with the UN Sustainability Development Goals. We'll see how predictive analytics and forecasting is important. We'll see how automation happens in the world of business. Why integration is important? It's very important to integrate the AI across different business functions for getting the efficiency, pretty much answered in one of the chats as well. And finally, we'll try to go across and focus on data analytics for decision making. This is something which we will try to get into some of the hands-on experience as well. So my expectation, and I really hope at the end of this particular workshop, we'll be able to unlock the transformative potential of AI. We'll try to align, we'll try to master. Well, it's not a lot of time for us to go across and master the AI tools, but my intent here would be to go across and maybe expose you to Excel, Tableau, and Power BI, how you can use it for data visualization, creating models, creating dashboards as well. And hopefully you can spend more time there and that would be great. We'll try to see enhanced decision making through predictive analytics, and we'll try to go across and see how AI integration is important for actionable strategies. So let's explore the real world applications of AI. Let's talk about the important functions in business. It could be AI in marketing, it could be operations, decision making to boost efficiency and profitability. So let's try to take a deep dive into how AI is actually reshaping the core business. In marketing, I would go across and say AI has revolutionized marketing not just by automating tasks, but also making marketing intelligent. Now you're able to anticipate, everyone is now able to anticipate customer needs, even the emotions and the actions. AI has enabled brands to engage with customers on deeply personal levels. We have been using platforms like Netflix, Amazon, and even Spotify. They don't just guess your preferences; they calculate them. It's all very calculative decisions at the back end with the help of all the algorithms. They calculate them based on your past behaviors and what others likes to enjoy. Typically, we say what's trending. That's the magic of collaborative filtering. And the best part, where we try to include the generative AI part, that's natural language processing, working together and drive the conversions. So marketing is no longer storytelling. We used to go across and say Kotler and everyone, Philip Kotler and Porter. So marketing is about storytelling. I think we have gone beyond that. With the help of artificial intelligence, it's story shaping. We are actually story shaping in the real time for each and every individual based on their needs and making it very personalized and customized. Similarly, if I talk about operations, AI has become the brain behind logistics. It has really reshaped the entire logistics and operations industry. When I talk about, let's say, UPS and FedEx, for instance, its AI algorithms continuously calculate the optimal delivery routes, which is the best area through which we can go across and deliver the products to the customer, saving around $300 million in fuel annually. That's huge. That's really huge. These are the tangible bottom line results which we are actually seeing because of the help of artificial intelligence in terms of optimization. And when it comes to decision making, data is no longer static. AI tools now help leaders run predictive scenarios. For example, let's say how Starbucks uses AI to determine the success of a new store even before breaking the ground. So this is really shaping the entire functions in terms of business, in terms of operations, in terms of logistics, in terms of strategic decision making, which is quite cool. In terms of customer experience, if I talk about customer service functions, definitely it has been transformed. AI-powered chatbots, I'm sure we have been using, they have been handling thousands of queries simultaneously with human touch. Think of Sephora Beauty Assistant. It guides you through skin tone. I would definitely would want you to go across and use it. Try it. You can just Google it around and try to see it. It's really transformative, the chatbot. And perhaps the most critically, AI-enabled organizations to tap revenue opportunities, identifying the customers who are at risk, customer churning, adjusting the pricing maybe to maximize profit. And Spotify has been doing that masterfully. So AI is not just about doing things faster, it's also about getting the right thing smarter. And I would go across and say the future of business excellence lies in this intelligence, which is really, really driving the business efficiencies for the future. Okay, as we explore how artificial intelligence drives business excellence, I would go across and say it's crucial to recognize that AI is not just a tool for productivity, it is also a very important strategic enabler for sustainability and sustainable development. So today, I'll try to just touch upon on how AI is deeply aligned. So there are many UN sustainable goals, but I think three of them very closely aligns the SDG 8, SDG 9, and SDG 12 goals that directly impacts how organizations innovate, grow, and produce responsibly. So let's get started with the Sustainability Development Goal 8, that is decent work and economic growth. At first glance, artificial intelligence might seem to replace human labor. I was expecting some kind of an answer in that particular area as well, but I should understand. I'm sitting with the group of research scholars and academicians, so you guys are pretty much way ahead of the curve. But when we get into the world of corporate, people fear that we are gonna get replaced. But in reality, it is really reshaping the labor. I would go across and say artificial intelligence has been automating the routine, repetitive tasks while creating very high skilled jobs in the area of operations, data labeling, analytics, and even training the models. So AI is expanding. I was just reading one of the case studies. So in Kenya, which is located in Africa, the platform Hello Tractor, which is quite cool. Again, they use AI and mobile applications to connect smallholder farmers with idle tractors sitting around doing nothing. So they try to connect, they try to identify those particular tractors who are not actually being used right now in the farms, which helps them to improve productivity, creating local jobs and stabilizing incomes. Just imagine, it's pretty inclusive and resilient in terms of the economic growth. Well, Utsavi, that's a great question. That's what I'm trying to go across and answer here. Do you really think AI will take away people's job? I think, it's not gonna happen. But it's gonna reshape it. It's gonna really help us to automate the routine, especially when we don't like to get into those administrative and repeated tasks, doing the same thing again and again, where there are a lot of human errors. I think AI is definitely going to go across and help us create high-skilled jobs. We always used to fear internet and computers when it used to come. It's going to take away everything. There will be a lot of, I would go across and say, professions which will get impacted, but over a period of time, we will evolve and we are going to use AI in the right way. So that's what SDG 8 is all about, decent work and economic growth, even in terms of labor. Similarly, if I talk about SDG 9, that is focused on industry innovation and infrastructure, here AI plays a key role in modernizing production and building intelligent systems, which is again very important. I think, especially in terms of, I would go across and say manufacturing 4.0. Companies like Bosch are embedding AI into small smart factories as well. They use it to predict machine failures, they optimize the workflows, and ultimately they are reducing the energy usage as well. And a lot of people are calling it the fourth industrial evolution, that is math industry 4.0, which is more connective and adaptive. So I think AI will allow businesses to self-correct, self-optimize, and again evolve, which could be quite great for everyone. And finally, in terms of the other SDG, I think SDG 12, responsible and consumption and production is quite aligned here, because AI would help businesses understand and control their environmental impact. um, I was going through one of the case studies, Unilever. They use AI powered simulations. So they are actually creating those simulations to replicate the real world scenarios to redesign the packaging. They want to reduce the plastic weight without compromising any of the product integrity as well. So this is sustainability by design, not just as an afterthought. So in these three goals, we see how AI isn't a standalone solution. It's a strategic ally, and in building more equitable, innovative, and environmentally responsible economy here. I just want to go across and touch on this particular aspect as well. It's pretty much aligned with the Sustainability Development Goals by UN. So beyond production efficiency, AI is also now taking the stage in climate action. So tools like Microsoft's Planetary Computer, I'm not sure if you have used it. It's quite cool. You can go across and have try it out. They use AI and satellite imaging to forecast deforestation risk, water scarcity, urban emissions. Google have one of the tools, DeepMind. They try to cut energy use in the data center by cooling 40%, not upgrading the hardware. I think this is required. And now let's talk about circularity. So IKEA is now in India. So they use AI-backed system helps to track raw materials and parts, where they come from, where they are used. And ultimately the objective here is they transform the concept of waste into recyclable resource. So a big takeaway in this particular aspect, I would go across and say AI is not just the opposite of sustainability. I think it's the greatest ally. So we need to go across and embrace AI, artificial intelligence here. Wonderful. Okay, let's try to go across and move on to the predictive analytics part. I think this is quite important. Predicting what's going to happen, all the different sets of the models we have been using, time series, doing those historic analysis, trying to predict for the future. Everybody's been, especially the business managers, we always get that particular question: what will happen? What's going to happen? What will the customers buy our product? Uh, what the sales would be. It's a world of constant change. We went through a lot of transformative changes. We went through COVID, which was pretty historic, and a lot of things happened. Businesses pivoted, they adapted. Now we are going through tariffs war, and a lot of things are happening. So in the world of constant change, the ability to predict the future, especially I would go across and say in probabilities, is one of the most powerful capabilities we can have. So this is where again AI can help you with predictive analytics. It's it's not just the gut feeling, I feel this is how it should happen. It's not just the intuition as well. It's about more of data algorithms and AI to uncover the platforms. I would go across and say forward looking decisions. That's why the tools will be quite useful. So let's talk about that. At its core, I would go across and say predictive analytics relies on historical data. So it's combined with statistical techniques. There's a lot of machine learning models which are there. We use those statistical tools like regression, linear regression, decision trees, and then we get into different models to deep learning as well. This tools helps businesses not just understand what has happened, but what's likely to happen next. And it really helps you across different industries in retail, in healthcare, maybe disease outbreak modeling, patient care, risk monitoring and scoring as well. It helps in finance for fraud detection, supply chain for logistics optimization and other aspects as well. Let's talk about impact. So let's talk about some real world cases. So for example, if I talk about retail companies like Walmart, they have been using predictive models to determine exactly how much stock is needed. Especially, let's say, in the Northern American market, Black Friday is very popular. So the Black Friday weekend, they want to avoid both overstock and shortages. Similarly, in healthcare, predictive analytics tools are used to model patient risk, forecasting the hospital beds needs and seasonal illness patterns. Especially, they use predictive analytics during the COVID times, which was were quite bad and really impacting all the human lives. But we were trying to go across and optimize it with the help of predictive analytics. In airline, one of the airlines in Northern America, Delta, so they use predictive maintenance analytics. So instead of waiting for a part to fail, they forecast wear and tear and they immediately replace it, which is quite cool. So it's not just about operation. I think predictive analytics plays a very strategic role. Uh, for example, let's say you want to enter new markets, you want to launch new products, you want to go across and shift your supply chain. So that's why tools like Power BI and Tableau now integrate predictive models, which is quite cool. I think that's one of the major feature I would recommend you to go across and use it. Apart from creating data visualization, which everybody has been doing, you can create those data models, allowing the decision makers to visualize the real-time scenario. So one of the most famous use cases, I would say Netflix. So it's not just content, the ability to predict what you want to watch next using the viewing pattern of the millions of users. That's what predictive power helps the users keep engaged and reduce the churn as well. So I would go across and say, what does this mean for you? Well, it means you no longer have to react. You can proactively plan, pivot, and prepare as well. And you can get the hindsight into foresight, giving your organization strategic edge, especially during those uncertain times. That's something which is quite important for all of us to understand. Okay, let's talk about AI automation. I think AI automation is one of the most tangible, immediate applications of artificial intelligence. While many of think of AI as something futuristic, but I think the automation side of it is here now. It's already delivering immense value. We have been using AI to automate a lot of business processes, and it has really been helping the businesses to achieve those efficiency across different platforms. So, what exactly is AI automation? So, I would go across and say it's a convergence. It's a convergence of machine intelligence and robotic process automation. So it's not just following the rules. It learns from your patterns and it learns and adapts. That's where Chat GPT has been spending millions and millions of dollars to make the AI learn through the different sets of patterns. Think of your organization having a digital workforce, bots that don't sleep, they don't make mistakes, and they never take a sick day. Well, scary? Not that scary. In finance, this might be looking like automated invoice system. So, for example, American Express, for example, use AI for detecting fraud patterns in transactions. Uh, in the world of HR, I would go across and say now AI, well, it's happening. It's happening. I've seen it happening. So they are now screening the resumes, matching the job requirements for candidate profiles. I've seen a lot of organizations conducting pre-recorded video interviews. So and doing the automated sentiment analysis. And one of the most visible application now we have been seeing is customer service. Think about the chatbots. Amazon, Sephora, these bots can resolve 80% of the common problems. And then ultimately those focused problems could be passed on to the human agents, which I'm not sure how it's going to happen. I think the future would be the chatbots handling a lot of things by themselves. So AI also supports IT and operation. I would go across and say IBM, International Business Machine bots, handle over 10,000 internal service tickets daily, and it's been handled on behalf of the IT service desk. They can do password reset, they can handle the VPN issue. So this has drastically reduced the service desk wait times and increased the operational and internal efficiency as well. And let's not forget the scalability. Unlike people like me and people around humans, AI bots don't require onboarding. They don't they don't need those HR benefits, time off, and all the other aspects as well. So your company can grow 5x times, your bots can scale instantly without scaling your headcount. But I would go across and say the most important aspect, by automating the mundane, we free up human capacity for creativity. We can think about the strategic aspects, we can think about those creativity aspects, we can think about those relationship aspects. That things are the only things which humans can do. And that's not just cost saving, it's transformational. So I think automation is something which is quite important over a period of time. Some of the real world examples, American Express, we talked about, they have been using AI to detect fraudulent transactions. Coca-Cola is automating field service operation using AI powered scheduling tools, and IBM is internally, managing more than 10,000 employee service requests daily. They are also thinking of rolling it out externally for the external customers. So now we have talked about, artificial intelligence in business for efficiency in terms of aligning sustainability, predictive analytics, and automation. So why it's important that we need to integrate it? Integration is the most important aspect. We can talk about AI, we can play on the surface, we can think about the tip of the iceberg as well in different aspects as well. But it's important that we need to go across and understand those aspects. So now that we have explored on how AI enhances the specific business function, let's talk about where the AI transformation happens. So when AI is integrated across departments, so many organizations start with isolated AI experiments, maybe a chatbot in customer service or a forecasting model, but the true business excellence is achieved when we are embedding it. We are actually creating, I like the word connected intelligence rather than using the word artificial intelligence. I think the word will transform over the years, upcoming years. We are not going to go across and say artificial intelligence, but it could be convergence, it could be connected, it could be more of human driven intelligence. That's how it's going to go across and evolve. So I think of it. Think of it maybe like this. Your marketing team uses AI to predict behavior. Your sales team then taps into the same AI engine to prioritize. The customer service uses the sentiment analysis to proactively address the friction points. And that's how it usually happens. In HR, AI can track the employee engagement. In finance, you can integrate it with the budget and operations. The AI can forecast the supply chain disruptions and automatically communicates with the customer service team to adjust expectation. This is how you achieve efficiency in business. This is how you make your operations effective and efficient with the help of AI. Connected intelligence. This is something which we need to understand over a period of time. So let's talk about the enablers. Now, I think one of the powerful enabler could be, I'm not sure you have heard of these tools, but you can definitely try it out. Salesforce, Einstein, Oracle Cloud AI, Microsoft Dynamics 365, I'm sure you all would have heard about that as well. It will allow all the departments within the organizations to work on the same data structure, the same infrastructure. For example, if I talk about P&G, they integrate the AI in every corner of their business, and right from R&D to product formulations to marketing personalizations and campaigns, manufacturing automation in terms of quality control. Even Amazon is doing it. I think Amazon perhaps is one of the best examples out there. They don't use AI for personalization, it's embedded in logistics, supply chain. They have their cloud service, Amazon Web Services, even voice interaction with Alexa, right? So maximize ROI from AI. Don't think departmental. I think we need to think from an organization perspective, from an integrated environment perspective. We need to focus on alignment, shared KPIs, culture of AI fluency, and I think we need to change the mindset. AI is not just a tool. I would want to go across and urge you all, don't just think about it as a tool. It has become a strategic capability which is woven through the fabric of your entire organization or your entire enterprise. I think that kind of a culture or that kind of a psychology will definitely help us to go across and integrate AI in our business functions. Okay. And finally, I think this is the fun part which I want to go across and talk about. Let's now focus on one of the most powerful drivers of business transformation, data analytics. I would love to go through a lot of tools here, but I want to be cognizant of the time. I want to give you some time to go across and ask questions as well. So I'll just try to touch on this the aspects of those tools which can definitely help you to go across and turn complexity into clarity using data to understand what happened, why it happened, and what to do next. So let's talk about those tools. I mean, if I talk about data by itself, it's just a noise. I think everybody agrees, right? It's just a noise. It's a very raw thing. We need to go across and process it, mine it, to go across and make some actionable insights out of it. And we do it with the help of research. But we need to have the right kind of tools. So strategic decisions require data that's clean, that's structured and visualized. This is where the tools like Microsoft Excel, Power BI, and Tableau come in, each playing a unique role in transforming into action. Uh, I mean, we usually have been belittling Microsoft Excel a lot, but Microsoft Excel, I must say, it's a very powerful tool. I mean, alone it can go across and do all the statistical analysis, work on those financial formulas and other aspects as well. So let's talk about it. When I start talking about Excel, many underestimate it. It's not just for spreadsheet. We use it for spreadsheet, maybe creating tables. I think that's what we do, but it's also being used as a tool for cleaning those messy data sets, identifying those duplicates, running the scenario based forecasting. I like this part. You can also use pivot tables. This is something which is I think is one of the most sought after feature in Microsoft Excel. You can dissect your sales by region. You can do conditional formatting. If I talk about Power BI, Power BI is more about trying to go across and connect everything from the Excel files to cloud database to API. It's not just Excel. You can connect everything. It's a Microsoft business intelligence powerhouse. You can use DAX formulas as well. So it's a natural processing query language. I'll just touch upon that briefly. It lets you build dashboards, update in real time. I think that's one of the most important feature and look after feature in Power BI. It's real time. What's more, Power BI will also integrate AI features like forecasting and anomaly detection directly into your visuals. And it could be any kind of a visual. It could be a world map. It could be your specific area, geographical jurisdiction. Let's see if I can try to go across and show you that. And especially the people here who are visual thinkers who like to create storyboards and story sheets, that's where Tableau comes in. It's by Salesforce. It brings data to life. Um, the focus is on interactive storytelling, showing trends over time, comparing regions, mapping the key performance indicators geographically. Every department all can benefit Tableau ability to deliver high impact visuals. Why does all of this matter? Well, because organizations today can no longer afford to guess whether you are adjusting pricing, launching a campaign, or scaling a service. Your decision needs to be data backed. Your decision needs to be very fast, and your decision needs to be very forward looking. And I would go across and say the truth is leaders who understand and act on data, they outperform their peers. You need to understand that part. You need to embrace that part as well. In every sector, we talk about every industry, every sector, from retail to healthcare to finance. Analytics is becoming the most important foundation of your competitive strategy. You cannot go across and take a decision without analytically thinking about that particular data, trying to transform into different types of dashboards to go across and identify and take the best decisions for the future. I just thought maybe I'll put across a tool comparison. And this is what I'm going to go across and do. I think try to go across and think of all the three tools. You can use Microsoft Excel for data cleaning and basic analysis. I wouldn't want to go across and if I compare it with Power BI and Tableau, I'm not going to go across and say use Microsoft Excel to create chart. I've seen a lot of my peers and a lot of people using Microsoft Excel just to go across and create charts and table. No, I think Power BI and Tableau is something which is quite cool. This is where you can create those interactive dashboards. You can also create those visual effects, especially if you want to create a enterprise level reporting or maybe some kind of storytelling, other aspects as well. I think this is quite useful. Um, don't get bogged down by understanding or maybe by thinking. This is what we do. We when we start a tool, we feel that okay, we don't have a lot of time, we don't have someone guiding us. I think these three tools are very very easy to you go across and use. That's a very familiar interface. It's very friendly. It's very user friendly as well. If I talk about Power BI, moderate. I mean, I would go across and say yes, it might require training, but it's pretty easy. Both Power BI and Tableau are very user friendly. The best feature which everybody loves is drag and drop. Drag and drop. So it's very easy. There are some great tools. There are some very good learning modules which are available, offered both by Power BI and Tableau. In fact, they have their certifications as well in case you're interested. That could be something which you can go across and look into. So yes, I mean, I think if you want something real time, something happening right now in terms of the changing numbers. For example, let's say the election is happening and you want to go across and see how you might have seen the pre-poll results, during the poll results, all the media houses, they try to go across and say, okay, this particular geographical location, this is where this party is leading. If you want to go across and show those live dashboards, I think Power BI and Tableau are pretty useful. You can connect to those real-time public servers and all those data can start popping up. This could be used for your sales meeting. This could be used for anything. You want to go across and see how your app is performing. You want to go across, you're a startup. You want to see how many downloads are there, how many active users are there. You can see the customer churn and all the other aspects too. And that's pretty useful. So let's do one thing, time for hands-on workshop. Uh, I know, I mean, it's gonna be, I don't want to make it overwhelming, so I'll just touch upon pretty simple areas of all the three tools. So let's shift from theory to practice. We are going to get on hands-on with Microsoft Excel, Power BI, and Tableau, and we'll try to explore the real data sets. Um, you will get a chance to clean, organize raw data, build a performance dashboard, and maybe visualize the trends and generate some of the actionable insights. So let me go across and stop sharing, and I'll just try to go across and maybe I'm going to come back to your question after this hands-on thing. So I hope all the participants have received the data sets. It was just one of the sample data sets. I thought maybe everybody should have it to play around with it. I know there are better users of the tools than me, but I just wanted to be cognizant of all the people who are part of the conference. So I'm just going to go across and keep it pretty simple and straightforward. So let me go across and maybe share my screen. I think I'll share my entire screen. That would be easier for everyone here. Uh, Well, feel free to ask your questions. You can interrupt me. That's not an issue. Or maybe you can put across your questions in the chat window, and I'll go across and try to answer all your questions. But it's not the end of the story. We will stay connected. I'll share my details. I'll share my email with each and every one of you. In case you have any questions or anything, I'll be happy to answer your questions. Wonderful. I think this is one of the appendix which I had shared. I think this is Appendix A, and maybe, I'm just gonna go across and keep it pretty simple and straightforward as well. Uh, we have been using Excel. I'm sure this is one of the most, I wanted to start simple and then maybe get into those complex aspects as well. So we have in this particular Excel sheet the list of expenses and maybe the cost of the goods sold, the research and development expenses. Just typically looks like a very simple, straightforward one. So for example, let's say common mistakes, especially when my objective here is to go across and clean the data. So maybe, for example, let's say if I go across and select the revenues and the interest and the expenses, pretty much everything can be done here from the format cells. So just a second. I think I have not shared my entire screen. Let me share my entire screen. Okay, just want to check and maybe get a thumbs up or anyone can go across and say you all can see the screen, everything?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Wonderful. Nice, Professor Shakti. Thank you for confirming. Thanks, everyone. Okay, that's great. Everything happens here. So we'll start with cleaning, trying to go across and maybe code the data, making it presentable so that we can use it for calculation. Then we'll try to organize the data through pivot table or pivot table, whatever you want to go across and call it. And then over a period of time, we'll then jump onto Power BI and Tableau to go across and see how the visualizations, the storytelling, and the real-time data analysis work. Okay, so for example, let's say if I want to go across and maybe default it, I can go across and maybe go on to the number. I can go across and use a separator here just to make it more presentable because we usually tend to get confused in terms of the calculations here. I don't want to go across and put any of the decimal places. I'm just trying to clean the data. That's what I'm doing here. Keeping it simple, straightforward to go before the analysis. I'm sure there are a lot of researchers, there are a lot of to be research scholars here. So this is what we do whenever we collect the data with the help of questionnaires, or whenever we are trying to maybe use some of the data which has been collected within the organization. The first thing we need to go across is we need to clean the data, we need to organize the data, we need to make it presentable, we need to identify the errors, we need to make sure that those duplicate data has been removed. This is something which is quite important. So for example, let's say if I do this, well, the commas are coming, so this is nice. Let me just go across and add, let's say, total expenses here. One of the total, no, I think we'll go with total expenses itself. Okay, wonderful. And there are a lot of functions. You can just go across to the formulas. You can see all the different sets of the functions which are there, auto sum, financial functions, the text and other aspects as well. You can directly go across here and you can click on auto sum, which will go across and do the sum of all the different sets of the aspects as well. And you can see the formula. It's the sum of B phi, that's column B phi, and then ultimately it's combined with B8. So it usually comes across to 43,000. So that's nice, which is pretty nice over a period of time. We can also get into, let's say, net income. Okay. So when I talk about net income, that is typically revenues minus the total expenses. So again, an easy way of doing it, you can just go across and say equal to revenues minus, and just select those particular blocks. And I think that should come around to $7,000. Okay, wonderful. I think that's pretty easy and simple. I think this is something which we like, the most easiest part here. This looks good. You can go across and I don't want to get into the formatting aspects as well. You can go across and put different sets of the borders as well over a period of time. And for example, let's say if you want to go across and add some kind of a currency, again, everything happens here through format cells. You can get into the currency aspects as well. For example, maybe if I go across and select dollar, and if you want to go across and have any decimal places, you can have some decimal places. If you don't want to go across and have some decimal places, that's perfectly fine. And you can go across and see the dollar aspect as well. Similarly, if you go across to the format cells, you can go across and select any kind of currency, especially when you're doing your business across the world. You can go across and select any kind of currency. INR is also there. The rupee symbol, it's not there in my laptop, but we can just go across and insert it. So that's something which could be quite useful over a period of time. Wonderful. If I go across, or if I may ask you, if you go across to the second one, that is lab zero. So I just thought those are all the sample data. I just thought maybe we can just play around with it. So that's how typically, you get some kind of a sales report and other aspects as well. So now we want to go across and sort the data. We want to go across and maybe make sure that everything is cleaned and other aspects are pretty much simple and straightforward. So maybe the first thing which you can go across, so we can see we have the invoices, we have the customers, zip code. So this is a US based data, so that's the reason you can see the zip code. The SKUs are there for all the products, the descriptions, and the sales and the cost. So maybe, for example, it seems pretty unorganized. If I want to go across and see how things are happening, I can go to data, I can go to sort, and then ultimately you can go across and help me understand how you want to go across and sort my data. So maybe I want to go across and sort the data based on sales, and maybe I want to go across and see largest to smallest, and see, it has really sorted out the data for me. So the largest sales is happening in terms of whatever is happening. You can hit on OK and you can see. So this is pretty much simple and straightforward, which is pretty nice. Uh, Apart from that, maybe one of the most important functions which we can use is filter. Just try to go across and see how things can work across. So pretty simple and straightforward. You're not required to select anything. Just go across and select the column, click on filter. And now you can go across and see the filter. You can see specific zip codes. For example, you can see any kind of an SKUs as well, or description. For example, if I want to go across and see just avocado, and I can go across and see, okay, that's the data for avocado. For example, if I want to go across and see apples and avocado, so I can go across and see the data for apples and avocado. If anybody likes any other fruits, you can just try out and play around with it. Don't want to spend a lot of time here, but again, data filters and sorting is one of the most important functions here. You can also sort it based on the sales aspects as well and other things too. Maybe you can also sort it with the help of dates. For example, let's say if you want to go across and do it for maybe 4th of March. So if something is available on the 4th of March, you can go across on all those targeted data as well. And the final thing which I wanted to go across and show you on Excel, which could be quite useful, is pivot table. So you can remove the filter. Again, you can just select it here. You can just click on filter, and that's pretty simple and straightforward. Um, and let's try to go across and see the pivot table aspect as well. Before that, I think maybe we can just go across and say add one more column, that is gross margin. And yeah, I think gross margin is pretty simple. And maybe gross margin could be uh, sales minus the cost. And you can press enter. Wonderful. That's my gross margin. You're not required to go across and maybe write the formulas for everyone. You can just press Control and down arrow, or maybe you can just go across and drag it down, whatever amount of the data you have, and automatically the formulas will be calculated. Again, the best part for Excel. You can just drag and drop and you can just play around with it. So now maybe you can go to here. I would go across and say pivot table. You can go to insert. That's where pivot table is. You can click here over a period of time. And then I just like this particular part for pivot table because it usually goes across and selects everything. I don't want you to go across and click on anything right now. Maybe just go here and then go to the pivot table. And then those are the 194 entries. You can go across and see it usually captures everything which is there within the sheet. You can select some specific parts as well. For example, you don't want to capture the entire sheet. You just want some of the parts of the sheets, or maybe filter the data. You want some specific years, 2021 or 2022, or maybe the first quarter or something like that. You can do that. And it always helps you to capture and identify all the different aspects as well. You can do it in an existing worksheet, or you can also try to go across and do it in a new worksheet. I think I'll go across and maybe generate it in a new worksheet. You can click on OK. And that's how the pivot table looks like. You have all the pivot fields. You can drag and drop different sets of the areas and identify different aspects as well, which is again quite useful over a period of time. Uh, for example, let's say if I want to go across and click on description, so that's where the description, which automatically identifies itself as rows. Again, the best part for Excel is all the data types are automatically identified. And similarly, for example, let's say if I go across and see the gross margin, and it automatically identifies the data type as values. So again, this is quite intuitive feature of Microsoft Excel. You're not required to go across and classify the data. It automatically identifies it. Pretty much it's correct 99% of the times. But if you want to go across and modify and customize the data, feel free to do that. And it's been defaulted to some as well. So you can change the value. You can go across here. If you want to change the value of the fields as well, you're allowed to maybe put it as count or average or maximum, minimum. There are different sets of the functions which can be used, and ultimately you can create different types of the charts and other aspects as well. So we did that. It's typically has summed up the gross margin for all the different sets of the products here. For example, let's say for the Apple, it's 140.39 and so on and so forth for all the different sets of the products as well. So that's how we do it. We try to identify the data, we try to clean the data, we try to organize the data, we do those conditional formatting, and we try to maybe use the pivot table aspect. I think this is one of the major feature to go across and maybe visualize the data so that we can take the right kind of decisions. I can still go on and on, but I just want to be cognizant again of the time here. But feel free to go across and use it. You can use all the statistical tools here. Every single tools are available. You can use functions. You can go across and conduct a regression analysis. You can run those t-test, f-test, and other aspects as well. You can use those descriptive statistics, mean, median, and mode. Start with simple. uh, Trying to go across on skews and kurtoses, trying to see the confidence interval. Every single aspect is something which could be done here. I know we all are SPSS lovers, but mind you, Microsoft Excel is one of the most powerful tools which is available out there. So that's something which I wanted to talk about Excel. Let's try to go across and maybe jump onto, maybe let's go to Power BI. So let me try to find my data sets. Just trying to make sure that I have it here. Okay. And then maybe I'll just share my screen again. If you feel I'm just going too fast, just let me know, and I'll try to go as slow as possible. I still think we have some time, so let me try to go across and okay, let's get into Power BI. Just trying to run through my screens, making sure that we cover everything. Okay, let's see. Let me share my entire screen. Wonderful. So that's how Power BI looks like. I hope you got an opportunity to go across and follow the instructions and download the different sets of the tools as well. Power BI is pretty much part of your Microsoft 365, so that's part of your suite as well, which is quite easy to go across and identify. If you have those Microsoft 365 license, you can just go onto the Microsoft App Store, click on Power BI, and you can download it. It's available for free. You can also go to Microsoft Power BI online, Google it, and you can just download it directly. So that's how Power BI looks like. I hope you all are able to see the screen, and I take it as yes if nobody's just want to go across. Okay, wonderful. I hope everybody is able to see the Power BI screen. Just wanted to check so we can move. Professor Shakti, everyone else? Yes? Wonderful. Thanks. Thanks for confirming. Okay, so you can go
Yes,
across
sir.
and play around with a lot of different sets of the data sets here. And I just wanted to keep it simple here because we started with Excel. So we'll try to go across and maybe use Excel here. So you can click here on the Excel workbook and then you have an option of going across. So I'm not sure where exactly you have saved your file. So I've shared with you Appendix A, B, C, and 0. We used Appendix A and Lab 0 for the Excel part as well. And especially for the Power BI, I think we are gonna go across and let's use Appendix C because it has good amount of data. So you can just click on Appendix C and you can click on Open. It might be a bit slow because it usually is a real-time kind of an application which connects to the different servers at the backend, but you will be able to give us and see the data. So there are three sheets which are there as part of Appendix C. Uh, Customer, the FGI product, and the sales order as well. So you can click on that. There's a preview which usually comes across with it. You have the FGI product as well. I'm gonna go across and maybe select all the different sheets and try to have it. You have an option of transforming the data. Um, for example, let's say you don't want to get into Excel and you don't want to use Excel. You just want to go across and do everything on Power BI. You can click on transform data and it will open you an interface which is very similar to a Microsoft Excel. That's where you can go across and make any changes. Any changes on your sales order ID, any changes on the numbers. You want to make any changes in terms, add some columns or delete some of the columns as well. You're allowed to do that. Again, it's pretty powerful and it's very similar to Excel. And you can also create pivot tables there and so forth as well. So I'm not going to go across and do it for the sake of time. I'm just going to go across and click on load, and that's where it's going to go across and load the data. You could see things are happening at the back end. It's loading onto the server because it's usually creating a model as well over a period of time for all the different sets of the data. It directs some kind of relationships as well, and that's how it looks like. This is again quite cool. You could see this. That's where our data is available: the customer, the FGI data, and the sales order. You can go across and select whatever you like. You can see the different sets of the visualizations which are available here. And I think this is the fun part. You have the report view. This has typically been used for visualization. If you are just here to create some kind of visualization, that's what you can do. You have the data view as well. You can go across and see all the different sets of the data for all the different sets of the customers. You have the models. That's where I don't want to get into database modeling, but this is how the entity relationship diagram would look like. You can go across and identify some of the relationships over a period of time, and then you can try to connect and use the data in a very customized and a personalized mode too. And this is something new, which are known as DAX queries. So DAX is it's a new kind of a language I could go across and say, and it is very similar to ChatGPT. So they are using Copilot. So they have integrated Copilot here, which uses the algorithm of ChatGPT here, which is one of the generative AI tool everybody has been using right now. And you can write those human queries to go across and get answers to all your questions. So this is something which is quite important for all of us over a period of time. This would be the future. No, nobody's gonna go across and maybe play around on the model views and the table views, but the DAX view is this. You can just write any kind of a query. It accepts natural human processing in a very simple language. The prompts which you use on generative AI, you can just write your prompts here, and voila, you'll get those answers based on all the data which is available here on customers and the products and the sales order. This is really great feature, and I would definitely want everyone to go across and use it over a period of time. But for now, I'm gonna come back to the visuals and see how the data looks like. So you can come onto the customer table, you can expand it, and maybe for example, you have addresses, city. Let me start with state. Let me select state, and now you could see this is the real time. This is the beauty of using Power BI. Well, I think that's too big. That's the Northern American market because that's where the states are there. You could see the state of Texas, which is part of the data. This is not something which I'm trying to reproduce myself. Whatever data has been imported from Excel has been part of it. You can go across and open it and you can play around with it. Maybe now I want to go across and see the sales orders, and maybe I would want to go across and see how much amount of the quantities are sold in that particular state. And then you can go across and see, in Texas, you could see the sum of quantity sold is 211. You can see in Oklahoma, in Arkansas, in Tennessee, in Missouri, and Kansas. This is again the next level. I mean, it's very different from Excel, and this is where you could see the size of the circle. The bigger where the sales is more, the smaller one you could see, is the sales is around 35. It's really nice, and it tries to go across and work around on those particular set of numbers as well. You can use different sets of visualizations here, whatever you like. You can go across and maybe use a column chart, or you can use a bar chart, or different sets of the charts which can go across and help you identify, and you can see all the different sets of the data. It's very intuitive, pretty nice, pretty straightforward. You can use those area charts, the pie charts. You can also use the quantity of the sum sold in a help of tree maps and other aspects as well. I'm an old school right now. I'm just gonna keep it pretty simple, clustered bar chart, or maybe a stacked column chart or something like that. Um, One of the other thing which I really like about Power BI, which I really wanted to go across and talk about again, was, well, it would be very time consuming for me to go through DAX, but maybe one of the feature which I can show you right now is maybe one of the natural processing language they have integrated with the help of Copilot is the Q&A modeling as the ChatGPT and AI aspects which are there. So you can come onto the insert and maybe you can click on this. So for example, let's say that's my question and answer. You can go across and maybe expand it or and show some suggestions. So maybe I can go across and say how many customers are there. It will go across and tell me. Maybe, for example, if I want to go across and say, what is the amount of the quantity being sold? 979. Everything, every single aspect. Maybe products, FGI product and product sale price. It will go across and provide me that kind of a data. So again, this is quite cool in terms of visualization. It will go across and help me identify the different aspects as well. I would definitely would want you to urge you to play around with it, and this is something which is quite relevant over a period of time. We don't have a lot of time to go across and maybe work on those aspects on Excel, so Power BI is the way to go. There are a lot of different apps which are there, which are part of Power BI, which you can go across and use as well. You can identify the key influences. You can create a decomposition tree based on those particular set of visuals. Anything and everything could be done with the help of Power BI. You can go across and format it. You can try to go across and create a report which seems very similar to a PowerPoint presentation. You can run those slides as well immediately. And then finally, the best part is you can create a dashboard. So this is what Power BI is capable of. And again, I'll just run through the last one, the Tableau, and just want to see. Uh, okay, wonderful. And let me just go through. Just give me a second. I don't know. We have a lot of time for Tableau and maybe a question answer, but maybe 3 minutes is what I asked for, and then maybe we can just jump on to. Well, I when I did my PhD, I used SPSS and MOS. That's one of the tool. I'm sure many of you would be aware of, and I had to prove a model, and I went across with one of the statistical tool. It was known as structural equation modeling, and my life was in shambles. Learning through MOs and putting across a lot of data, it was crazy. I used to bang my head over a period of time. So, but again, when I see these tools right now, Power BI, and when I see Tableau, my life would have been much, 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 much easier. In Tableau, you can just click on data modeling, put across your different sets of the factors, and automatically it creates everything for you. Easier for you to identify the relationships, easier for you to go across and prove those relationships, easier for you to create those models and justify, easier for you to do confirmatory factor analysis and exploratory factor analysis. So yeah, I mean, especially researchers, you're writing a research paper, collecting the data and mining your data to go across and create some of the models and want to prove your model with the help of structural equation modeling and confirmatory factor analysis. I love Tableau on that particular part. So for creating dashboards, real-time stuffs, I think you can go across with Power BI. But if you want to go across and create storylines, and if you want to create some kind of models and prove some of your models as well, I think Tableau would be the way to go. So I hope so. I'm just showing you right now, not the licensed version. This is the free version of Tableau. This is typically known as Tableau Desktop Public Edition. If you have not been able to go get the license, you can still use Tableau with the Tableau Public Desktop Edition as well, which typically has almost 80% of all the features which could be there. So let's jump on to that. So this is how Tableau would look like when you open your file. You can click. You can again have those JavaScript, JSON files, Access file, database files, PDF files, statistical files as well. I'm gonna go with Microsoft Excel. You can click on Microsoft Excel, and wherever you have gone across and maybe shared your stored your data, which I've shared with you. I just want to make sure which one. So we use this one for the Excel. I think we use the. Uh, okay. Yeah. So we can go across and maybe being cognizant of the time, I think let's use Appendix B. Okay. So automatically you could go across and see an ER diagram has been created. Pretty much, you can see the appendix data, how the tables are related. It automatically identifies. I'm not sure if there are any lovers of database. So it identifies something as primary key, the foreign key, the unique identifiers, and other aspects as well. So that's been created here. Uh, let's try to go across and maybe see different sets of the data here. Everything looks good. Wonderful. Okay. So starting with the SKU and other aspect and things. Okay. So let me directly jump on to, let's get into the sheet. We can directly go onto the worksheet. This is how the worksheet will look like for all of us. And this is where the data and the tables are going to come across. Maybe, and you could see, it automatically puts across the data in rows and columns and other aspects as well. So for example, let's say I want to go across and double click on gross margin, and that's what the entire gross margin looks like. And maybe in terms of the columns, I can go across and maybe put it across under description aspects as well. Wonderful. I think I like it. Okay, so now you could go across and see that it has automatically gone. You can change it. You can personalize it over a period of time. You can see the total gross margin has been sorted as part of the description here as well in the terms of the total consumption. You can see every single data is available here. You can go from right to left and other aspects as well. You can click on different aspects. You can see each and every description. You can try to sort it too. You can try if you want to go across and sort it from lower to higher. I don't want to get into that right now. And that's something which is cool. There's a show me tab here on the right hand side. You can use the different sets of the tools as well. You can try to go across and maybe have a column chart, or maybe I think a tree map would be much better. And it shows us the proportion of the biggest gross margin. For example, here Apple has the biggest gross margin over a period of time, so this is quite good as well. And yeah, I mean, over a period of time, the other things which are quite useful here, you can get into the analytics part. So this is something which is important. And for example, let's say if I'm just playing around with the data, or maybe if I just want to go across and put any kind of a data, so I can have the average of 95% confidence interval here. So you can go across and see how it automatically goes across and calculate the datas. Uh, just give me a sec. Just want to make sure that we have the data here. Yes, and that's a description. So yes, you can go across and create the analytics. You can have the average of the data as well. You can create a median. You can create the quartiles as well. So there are a lot of statistical tools which are available. If you want to create a dashboard, you can go here. You can create a new dashboard. You can get the data from this particular sheets, and based on this particular sheets, you can create the dashboards as well. You can tile the objects. You can navigate to different sets of the options which are available. And the third thing which I wanted to go across and show you is the storyboard. You can also create a new story. So based on the different sets of the datas and the sheets which are available, you can directly use the sheets and the dashboards. You can try to play around with this particular sheet. So data set for sales in North American market, whatever you want to go across and call it. And you can also try to play around with this layouts. You can do a custom animation and other aspects too. You can run this particular aspect as a PowerPoint presentation. So, well, I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to run through a few of the things as well. But again, one of the most powerful tool if you really want to go across and do data modeling, this is one of the tool which I would definitely suggest you to go across, identifying the you can get into analytics, identifying the confidence intervals. You can use those statistical tools as well to go across and maybe prove your models and maybe run a confirmatory factor analysis as well. Mind you can do that with the help of Power BI as well. Integrating SPSS and AMOS. SPSS is I love it. I still love it. I mean, the SPSS is my first love. But again, integrating it with AMOS, it's really complex. Playing around with all the data sets, and ultimately you don't have the great visuals which are available here. So it really makes your life very difficult. It's very demotivating over a period of time. But again, with all the advancements which has been happening with the help of AI and all the tools which are coming across, AI has been integrated, artificial intelligence, generative AI, natural processing languages are now integrated inside Power BI and Tableau. So Power BI again by Microsoft. So you have the Copilot. Salesforce has been doing a lot of work on Tableau. So I would definitely recommend and suggest each and every one of you to go across and use this tool, which would be quite useful for all of us over a period of time. So yeah, I mean, anyways, let me just go across and let's try to go across and be cognizant of the time here and maybe wrap up. So trying to go across and say maybe if I go across and talk about the key takeaways, well, I think we were able to apply the AI across key business functions for strategic advantage. Um, I think with the help of this workshop and maybe trying to go through all the tools, we were able to understand how to align AI with long-term ESG goals and impact goals as well. AI definitely helps in improving decision making through data-driven forecasting. I would go across and say it with the help of predictive analytics, you can build AI plans and solve real-world business problems. And finally, well, 20 minutes was not a lot of time to use Excel, Tableau, and Power BI, but we can use Excel, Tableau, and Power BI for real-time analysis, creating visualization, data models, stories, use natural processing languages, DAX queries, and ultimately helps us to create models, not just for researchers, even for businesses, even for startups to go across and maybe use it effectively and efficiency over a period of time. So that's it from my end. I just want to thank all of you. Any thoughts, any suggestions, any feedback? I hope you enjoyed the workshop and I was able to go across and maybe add some kind of a value in your lives with the help of this particular web, conference and in terms of this particular workshop as well. we maybe in the future we can go across and pick up one of the topics and elaborate more and talk about those aspects as well. But for now, feel free to contact me. That's my email ID. I'll be sharing this particular presentation with the organizing committee, and they can share with all the different sets of the participants who were part of the conference and they were part of this particular workshop. But once again, thank you for the time. And yes, maybe if
Yeah.
there's some time, I should try to go across and maybe get some questions answered here.
Yes, sir. That was a wonderful session. Yes, if anyone has any question, they can raise. Please ask.
Okay, how to I can
Hello,
just try
I have a
to
question.
okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Abhishek here.
Hi, Abhishek.
Yes, fine, sir. Sir, just I have one kind of just insight from your side. I have gone through one TEDx, very good kind of debate actually, which was on the topic of how artificial intelligence affect the humans. And actually, the thought was that artificial intelligence won't replace anyone, but anyone who won't use artificial intelligence will be replaced. Kind of that. And the theme was that we should learn whatever we can out of the class with the students or researcher or the academician. But inside the class, kind of the exam, once we apply the knowledge, we should apply the critical arguments, the human tendencies, and our intelligence, the kind of the human traits that are. And I'm really driven with that thought, sir. So, sir, just would you kindly share your thoughts on this context? How exactly, sir, would you advocate these thoughts, sir, please?
Thanks for the question, Abhishek. I think you have pretty much answered the question while you were trying to go across and elaborate on that particular thought. But I think uh, well, I want to be neutral here. I just don't want to go across and advocate artificial intelligence, but I think artificial intelligence is here to stay. It has been around for quite many years. We were using different terminologies like algorithms and machine learning and neural networks and other aspects as well. But now what has happened is it has come across to everyone as a tool called generative AI. And that's when now everybody has started realizing, okay, you know what? This is something which is quite cool. I know there are a lot of students and researchers, they love it for creating their assignments, and then let's not get into those academic integrity debates and other aspects as well. But I think yes, everybody should be aware of for now, maybe you should be aware of how to use different sets of the prompts, because all the different sets of the AI tools which we are talking about right now, they are really helping us to automate. They are really helping us to reduce those repetitive tasks, have those error-free queries as well over a period of time, and it's really evolving. So I don't want to get into those Terminator movies and the Skynets, and then maybe talk about iRobots and other aspects too. But yes, from a business perspective, if you have a business, use AI to leverage it. Artificial intelligence in management, I usually use the terminology aim. You need to aim for it as a business, as a researcher, even as a student, and even as an academic institution, even as a university as well. You need to embrace AI. There's a very thin line of difference between using it for academic integrity and plagiarisms and all the other aspects as well. But this is really going to be a game changer. So you need to understand. I know I've seen a lot of job postings in Northern American market where they usually go across and say you should be able to generate those prompts. You should, and there are pre-interview discussions, and there are some exercises which has been handed on to the participants and maybe the interviewees as well, where they are required to use the prompts to generate those answers in terms of the case studies as well. So that's going to stay. I think we need to embrace it. We should not be running away from it. It's a very valid point, and you have summed it pretty nicely, Abhishek. Uh, and we need to go across, even as an academician, even as a researcher, even as a student, as a startup founder, as a business, or anyone. We could see from all the examples which I've used in this particular presentation, all the cases, right from Amazon to International Business Machine to Netflix to IKEA, everybody has been using it. So yes, I think that's one of the skill sets which will really help us to go across and leverage our potential and maybe help the businesses to prosper in the right manner. So I'm not sure if I've answered your question. These are just my
Yes,
views, and I
sir,
agree with you,
definitely,
Abhishek.
sir. Definitely, sir, you have well answered. I have taken the note, especially generative AI and that prompt engineering. Yeah,
Wonderful. Thanks.
thank you, sir. Good.
You're welcome.
Abhijit sir,
Yes.
hello, this is Kajal Mehta.
Hi, Kajal. How are you?
Sir, I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. Tell me.
So my question is that I am teaching statistics, and can I use these tools as on real-time data at the
You
time
can
of the
use
teaching in the class?
Yes, especially you can use Power BI and you can use Tableau to go
Mm,
across and maybe use it for real-time data. I do it. I mean, I do it in my class. I teach statistics as well,
mm,
and I try to pull the data, the
uh,
real-time data from Statistics Canada and some of the statistics which is there in US as well. Let's say in terms of demographics, understanding the number of the, just an example, the number of the immigrants making impact in that particular geographic region and other aspects
mm,
as well. So we can go across and pull the data. We can upload
okay.
it directly through SQL servers. Maybe if it's in a form of an SQL query, or if it's in a form of Microsoft Access or Excel or whichever way, even in PDF. If you have the
Mm,
data in PDF as well, you can download it in that particular way. I think that's the way to go, and you can use it. In Microsoft
okay.
Excel, it's a tad bit difficult because you need to connect to the servers, but Power BI is pretty much a it's
Mm.
pretty cool. I think
Because
you can go across and
right
try it
now I
out.
am using the Excel data analysis tool pack. But if these tools are very useful and students can adopt it easily, so I should apply this
It's
tool.
pretty nice as well, and it's very intuitive,
Mm,
and from a student's frame of mind, and they love visuals. They love
mm,
visuals. They try to play around with it, and it's easier for them drag and drop rather than writing those queries. And I would
mm,
definitely suggest you, Professor Kajal, to use the DAX query function as well, which
yeah,
is there in Power BI. It's very simple, natural processing language. Just writing it's just the way we write prompts in
right.
generative AI tools. That's how you can use it, and that particular DAX query can help you data mine the data from all the data which you have uploaded for study.
Mm, right. Thank you, sir.
And we can connect later as well if you want to go across and maybe have some examples. There are some samples data
Sir, I really
which is
want to.
available. Wonderful. And again,
Okay.
this is for everyone. There's sample data and the Learn platform which is available on Power BI website and Tableau as well. I think I've shared few of the links as well in the pre-data set and the steps for downloading the software. It really has step-by-step live instruction videos which is very easy to follow and go through. So
Thank you, sir.
Hello,
Sir,
sir.
good afternoon. Richa this side.
yes, go ahead.
Yeah, sir, how Tableau and Power BI are useful in a qualitative research? Can I carry out a thematic and a grounded theory analysis with this software?
Well, that's a good question. I can go across and maybe talk about that as well. So qualitative data analysis, well, it's not a lot of numbers, but again, from a visual, you can go across and and conduct a thematic analysis as well. I would go across and say, especially with Power BI, it's not just a tool for going across and doing some statistical calculations or generating numbers based on some of the data. But when we, let's say, for example, conducting a qualitative analysis, you're trying to go across and conduct some interviews or some kind of focus group discussions. It could be with a financial company, or it could be with a bank or certain group of individuals. So you can do sentiment analysis on that particular aspect for a smaller group of people. And you can try to go across and do a thematic analysis as well, try to identify and draw some inferences out of it. I'm not going to go across and say exploratory factor analysis because you need to have a large sample size for that part. But again, observational, thematic, sentimental analysis, and trying to go across and maybe do sensitivity analysis as well based on the different sets of the data. That's where this could be quite useful. So Power BI has a function. I've not used Tableau for maybe a small sample size, but I've definitely used Power BI for a small sample size, and it has given me some great results. And based on that, I've created some dashboards for sentiment analysis. So it was a very small activity I did in my classroom, especially for the pattern of the users drinking coffee in the cafeteria. So there were not a lot of people, but there were around 8 to 10 people, and based on their preferences and different sets of the factors. So Power BI really gave me some great answers. I know the world of statistics will not love it when you have small number of sample size, but I think tools like Power BI are something personally which I feel I have used it. I really feel you can definitely go across and use it, and maybe it could help you in your research, write some research papers based on qualitative data. I am an equal fan of qualitative data as compared to quantitative data as well. I think qualitative data is also very important to go
So,
across and maybe create a triangulation approach to prove our models and theories as well. So I hope I was able to answer your question, Professor
Yes, sir.
Richa.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon,
Hello,
sir.
sir.
Yeah.
Good
Go
afternoon,
ahead.
Sorry,
sir.
sorry to
Minty
interrupt.
Sinaya.
I think Dr. Minty Sinha has a question.
Yes,
Please
Yeah.
go
sir.
ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is the rise of AI brings ethical considerations like algorithmic bias, data privacy, and all. So, how does research methodology helpful in addressing these ethical considerations?
Well, that's a that's a great question, Dr. Menti, and I think everybody might have different views on that particular aspects too. But yes, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, from a research perspective, there definitely is going to be ethical issues which will pop up with the help of AI. I'm not sure that particular this particular example is quite relevant, but recently we experienced a trend of Ghibli images, right? So everybody was going across and uploading their images and then trying to get those Ghibli images as well. Was anyone talking about data privacy? Was anybody talking about ethics? Anybody could do it, right? I mean, anybody can go across and I can upload an image of a powerful politician or maybe a very famous personality across the world, and it's still been happening. So that is something which has been a gray area. That has been a gray area. I think from a research perspective, Dr. Menti, that's a very valid point. We need to make sure that we are addressing those particular ethical concerns. We need to make sure, because we as researchers we cannot take sides. We need to be neutral. We need to make sure that we are talking about both the sides of the coins. And let's say, for example, if I'm trying to go across and conduct a research on recent elections, I cannot just go across and maybe you know have a question in my questionnaire where I'm supporting party A or party B, or I cannot go across and maybe talk about, or maybe typically it's known as a badgering question or a leading question, where I'm trying to talk about some of the problems and maybe leading the respondent to a specific party. That's not right. Right. Similarly, that happens in AI as well, which we need to understand. That's a very valid point. I usually tell my students and my research students as well to talk about the ethical consideration, be very specific. It's not exactly a disclaimer, but you need to go across and talk about what is the objective of the study, what are the ethical considerations. And as a researcher, when you're collecting the data, you need to make sure that you're not sharing that particular data with anyone. You're not going to go across and use that particular data in a chat GPT or a generative AI platforms, because those are all confidential data which could be made, and whatever you put on ChatGPT, that's public. I mean, that's going inside the servers. The AI is learning, the AI is mining on that particular aspects as well. There are a lot of government agencies, especially, they have specifically put across very specific guidelines to not use any kind of a confidential data on those AI platforms as well. So I think that's a very valid point, Dr. Menti. We need to make sure that we are putting across and be mindful of those ethical consideration, because we are still evolving. There are no particular set of guidelines available. In my university where I teach, we are still trying to struggle to create an AI policy for the students in terms of academic integrity, because every day we see a gray area and we try to address it. And especially from a research perspective, this is a very small drop in that particular huge ocean. So yeah, I mean, I would just go across and say, Dr. Minty, I totally agree. We need to talk about and address as a researcher in terms of ethical consideration and be very mindful of, especially when we are publishing the papers and we are publishing our models and maybe writing chapters in any kind of a textbooks or any other aspects too. So,
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Dr. Abhijit Singh. Now I request Dr. Priyanka Shah to deliver vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Shakti, so much. Uh, well, so I think I would start by saying, or by actually mentioning that for many of you who were there in the participants, as a participants, probably must not know that Dr. Abhijit had started delivering the session at 4 a.m., right, where he's located, where he's staying right now. So I think so thank you so much. I mean, that is tremendous and that is phenomenal. So the dedication to disseminate knowledge at 4 a.m. in the morning is amazing. So that is one, of course. Second is, as a faculty who is actually teaching business analytics and also dealing with a little bit of AI in the class, right? So where we teach students about predictive and prescriptive or descriptive AI and give them some information. We also tried to use Excel and Power BI in the class, not gone to the extent of using Tableau yet. So it is quite relevant. I'm sure students and faculty members alike who are listening to who have listened to the lecture or the workshop must have a lot of key takeaways from this. And the brevity of the session, sir, it was amazing. So the way you've presented such wonderful facts was great. So I honestly humbly take this opportunity to thank you on behalf of Chimanbai Patel Institute, which is an institute under SVGU, the organizing committee of Chimanbai Patel of CPIM 2025. So thank you for delivering such a power-packed session at 4 a.m. in the morning. Again, I reiterate. And we would definitely like to hear more from you in upcoming sessions at a time more conducive to you. So yes, thank you so much. We've had a great time listening to you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And I would just like to note that more than 150 participants joined through this meeting and more than 200 were listening on live streaming on YouTube. So we had almost 350 participants enjoying this session. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, we conclude this day 2 of CPIM 2025. From powerful keynotes to forward-thinking workshop, today offered a valuable insights on sustainability, innovation, and strategic growth. Thank you all our speakers, guests, participants for making it meaningful. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. sharp for the final day, featuring panel discussion, paper presentations, and valedictory. Have a great evening. Thank you once again for joining.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thanks for those great words. Gratitude. Thanks, Priyanka. Thanks, Shakti. Thanks, the organizing committee. Thanks, CPIM, CPMIR, and
Thank you, everyone.
thanks, everyone. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.